Welcome back after the break. I hope you enjoyed the cake. I now have the pleasure of introducing our current president for the next couple of hours only, Mr. Simon Bush, who is Director of NTDs at Sightsavers, and he's going to lead us through our medals and awards ceremony. Please join me in welcoming Simon.
Thank you, Tamar. Hello, everyone. If I'm bending slightly double, I do apologise. This is a very heavy chain, and I believe it's been refreshed over the last year. Members, fellows and friends, welcome to the RSTMH Medals and Awards ceremony for 2023. It's a real pleasure for me to be able to present the medals and awards. It's one of the last functions that I have as president, as I hand over to Professor Jimmy Whitworth a little bit later on. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the break. And let's start. We're going to start with the Hemingway Award. And the Hemingway Award is a joint award between RSTMH and the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine. It recognises Professor Janet Hemingway's achievements during her leadership at the Liverpool School. This year's nominator was Professor Steve Ward, and he nominated Professor Mark Taylor. Unfortunately, neither Professor Ward or Professor Taylor will be able to make it here today, but we're going to play some pre-recorded videos of the nomination itself and also the acceptance.
Good evening, everybody. Firstly, apologies for being unable to greet you this evening. I think that the Hemingway Award, tries to look and recognise three qualities in a scientist. One, obviously, is the excellence of the science itself. But I think in terms of this award, the ability to translate that science into impact in terms of global health outcomes, I think, is a key criteria. And also, the individual needs to demonstrate the leadership and vision to deliver that translational agenda. And it's against those criteria that I recommended Professor Mark Taylor for this prestigious award. Many of you will know Mark is an internationally recognised parasite immunologist by trade, over 30 years plus experience focusing principally on onchocerciasis and lymphatic filariasis. But some 20 years ago, Mark became intrigued by the observation that several medically important nematode parasites carried a rickettsia-like endosymbiont called Wolbachia. It contained these throughout its life cycle, and Mark thought there may be some relationship between carriage of Wolbachia and some of the immunopathology that he was interested in. That led to a series of studies carried out by Mark's team, trying to unpick effectively the contribution that Wolbachia made to nematode life. And this exercise led to insights that showed that Wolbachia was pivotal to many stages of the parasite's life cycle, including larval development, parasite transmission, embryogenesis, and I think most importantly in the context of translation, parasite's longevity. So I think the observation, or the critical observation, was that if you eliminated Wolbachia from these parasites using a simple antibiotic, in this case it was doxycycline, the adult parasites would die and died relatively slowly. And Mark recognised this as being part of the holy grail for the elimination programs of these particular diseases, and that is the need for a macrophyllaricidal compound, something that would kill adult parasites and significantly reduce elimination time frames. This triggered a series of quite elegant clinical studies with colleagues in Germany, Cameroon and Ghana that demonstrated without any doubt that daily doses of doxycycline were proof of concept in terms of macrophyllaricidal activity in both onchocerciasis and lymphatic filariasis. Mark was able to show that, since these early observations, that particular treatment strategy has now been adopted by the African Programme for Onchocerciasis Control as an alternative in lower endemic areas, and as an endgame strategy in Brazil and Venezuelan onchocerciasis elimination programs. So the science has already been implemented into the field and is already having impact, and I think that is, again, a key criteria for this particular award. Despite the success of tetracycline treatments, I think the community and Mark recognised that a 4 to 6 week treatment was not really very practical for these situations, and it was also compounded by the fact that tetracyclines are contraindicated in pregnancy and in children under the age of 8. So this again triggered Mark to think about what alternative anti-Wolbachia molecules might be available or could be developed, and he approached the Gates Foundation for support to develop a consortium to try and look for new, more effective anti-Wolbachia compounds. He was able to bring together a truly international team of both academic and industry scientists to address this challenge as part of the AWOL consortium. And then over a period of 15 years or so, I mean, the success of the AWOL consortium has been really spectacular. And some key outputs from that consortium includes the development of translational validation of very refined screening models for both LF and onchocerciasis, and the development of both target and product candidate profiles that are now recognised internationally as the profiles required for an anti-Wolbachia based macrophyllarisome. The programme was able to screen in excess of 2 million compound new chemical entities for activity, delivering several hundred hits for further development. The programme was able to demonstrate repurposing potential for a range of existing molecules, including rifamycins, fluoroquinolones, and some other antibiotics, and demonstrated synergy with albendazole between anti-Wolbachia compounds and albendazole. Again, a strategy that significantly reduces timeframes for treatment. And I think the icing on the cake has been the development of 2 novel candidates from hits all the way up into clinical trials, ABV 4083, also called Tylenol, and AWZ 1066. These represent the first, if you excuse the pun, tailor-made drugs for use in this medical indication. And I think another note that might be of value is that for many people in pharma, in fact, the vast majority of people who work in the pharmaceutical industry, it's very rare that they get involved in any molecule or any program that eventually produces a candidate that goes into man. And here, within 15 years, the anti-Wolbachia consortium has managed to deliver 2 totally new chemical entities into clinical trials. So I think the science and the related successes delivered through Mark's leadership and vision are world class. They've moved at rapid pace in less than 2 decades. I think it's fair to say that Mark has established a therapeutic paradigm for onchocerciasis and lymphatic filariasis that didn't exist before he started his work, and he's created a substantial anti-Wolbachia drug development portfolio from scratch. So I think a remarkable achievement, something that fits perfectly with the nomination for the Hemingway Award. And I'd like to congratulate Mark on his selection for the Hemingway Award, and recognising his substantial contributions to the field of NTDs and their elimination. And I hope he enjoys the night. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody, and thanks to Steve for his kind words. I'm honoured to be awarded the prestigious Hemingway Award from the Royal Society for Tropical Medicine and Hygiene and the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine. Translational research is important and a key focus of LSTM's research philosophy, and my success has been enabled through the vision of Professor Janet Hemingway to promote translational research at LSTM, together with mentorship in translational science from Professor Steve Ward, who has previously brought malaria drugs through to registration. I take great pride in exploiting the discovery of the essential bacterial symbiont Wolbachia as a target for safe curative therapy for both onchocerciasis and lymphatic filariasis, and developing this approach in partnership with the Anti-Wolbachia, or AWOL Consortium, an international network of academics and pharma industry partners. I remember vividly when we recognised the role of Wolbachia as a key driver of disease pathogenesis in onchocerciasis and lymphatic filariasis. And I recall a brief conversation with Ted Bianco in a corridor at LSTM when he asked what I was planning to do with my first PhD student, Dr. Williams Makundi from Tanzania. I casually replied that I thought we could do a trial in patients with lymphatic filariasis and treat them with a course of doxycycline and see what happens. What happened was we cured them, providing for the first time evidence of a safe macrofilaricidal therapy. This new paradigm for treating filarial diseases was also enabled through the vision of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and more recently GHIT and MRC, to invest in this approach, enabling AWOL to screen more than 2 million compounds, delivering some 20,000 hits from our preclinical screens, with 2 candidate anti-Wolbachia drugs progressing to human trials in partnership with DNDi and AbbVie and the University of Liverpool and ISI. The hope is that this approach can deliver safe and effective curative therapies for onchocerciasis and lymphatic filariasis to accelerate the progress towards their elimination from endemic communities and to alleviate the suffering these diseases inflict on millions of people in LMICs. I gratefully acknowledge the support of all partners in the AWOL consortium and thank them all for their contributions towards achieving this goal. Thank you.
So many congratulations to Professor Taylor, and we'll make sure that the medal makes it up to Liverpool. Next, I would like to present the George MacDonald Medal for 2023. This medal recognises contributions to health in the tropics. Unusually, for this year, I'm delighted to announce that there are 2 winners of the medal, or medals now. The first was nominated by Professor Olubenga Makulu, who will now read his nomination. If you would care to come and read your nomination. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much. I present to us Adrianus Dondrop, who we affectionately call Arian. Arian graduated from the University of Amsterdam in 1986 with an MD and became a registered doctor in 1990. He is currently an internist specialist physician, an infectious disease physician. He also holds a PhD from the University of Amsterdam and is a registered intensive care physician in the Netherlands. He is an active clinician scientist who is the world's leading authority on the pathophysiology and treatment of severe malaria. He led 2 randomized controlled trials in severe falciparum malaria, which changed the global treatment. These are the multi-country Sequamat trial in Asia and the African equivalent Aquamat trial in African children. These landmark studies, the largest ever in severe malaria, unequivocally demonstrated the substantial life-saving superiority of artesunate over quinine. WHO immediately endorsed artesunate worldwide as the first-line treatment of severe malaria, a policy change estimated to have already saved hundreds of thousands of lives. He has conducted key research on anti-malaria drug resistance. He was the first to characterize the emergence and the spread of artemisinin-resistant falciparum malaria in Southeast Asia. He has led regional research efforts to counter this major threat to global malaria control and elimination. For 7 years, he chaired the WHO Technical Expert Group on Anti-Malaria Drug Resistance and Containment, and now chairs the Steering Committee for Regional Artemisinin Resistance Initiative of the Global Fund for AIDS, TB, and Malaria. He is also a member of the WHO Anti-Malaria Guideline Development Group under my chairmanship, and he continues to lead the multi-center, multi-country clinical trials on improved and novel treatments of uncomplicated malaria in both Asia and Africa, and in the field of epidemiological studies, using molecular markers to track anti-malaria drug resistance. His extensive work on the pathophysiology of severe malaria has contributed substantially to our understanding of this major cause of death in tropical countries. As an intensivist, he leads a large ICU registry across Asia. He has created the world's largest research network in ICUs in resource-limited settings. He has led studies to improve the care of critically ill patients in ICUs and led the adaptation of sepsis guidelines for use in these settings. He has made truly major contributions to improvements in global health. On the basis of the above extraordinary achievements and the enormous impact his clinical research has had and continues to have on the hundreds of millions who suffer annually from malaria, Professor Andrianos Dondrou has distinguished himself as a most accomplished member of our international tropical medicine community. It is therefore my honor to present you a worthy malaria researcher, a personal friend, and for the award of the prestigious 2023 George MacDonald Award. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Mukulu, and thank you for the fantastic words. Please take a seat.
Okay.
Thank you. And Professor Oren Dondrou, I'm very pleased to present to you this wonderful George MacDonald Medal for 2023.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. I think we have to move for the photo.
We might have to redo this one later then. Do you think?
So I'll be very brief, but I feel very honored, of course, with this medal. So thank you to the Society. Thank you to Professor Benga-Moluku to nominate me. He's a good friend. And in fact, I should share the medal probably with you and with many other colleagues that I've worked with over the last 30 years. Thanks to the Maidon Oxford Research Unit, where I've been based for the last 23 years. It's a great working environment, very inspirational. I won't start mentioning all the names of people that supported me. Also my colleagues in Amsterdam, where I also have a position. Thanks to the past, when I worked in the Camry unit in Kilifi, and many other different groups and people I've worked in over the years. Thanks to my family, my son is in the audience, who had to grow up in Thailand and survived that. Thanks to the Wellcome Trust, who has supported our unit and has paid my salary for the last 23 years. Thank you very much. So I hope now with these awards that I can contribute to the important questions in global health. So my main topics are malaria and the development of critical care in low and middle income countries. I also hope to continue my work for the WHO and the Global Fund, and I hope to attend your next meeting again and this one. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arjen, and again, congratulations. As I mentioned, we have two medals, and the second nomination was from Professor Sir Alamuddin Zumla, who unfortunately can't make it here today. So we will now play his pre-recorded nomination.
President, Vice President, Trustees, Fellows and Guests. Professor Christine Stable-Ben is Professor of Global Health at the University of Southern Denmark. In 2012, Christine was selected by the Danish National Research Foundation to establish and lead a Center of Excellence for Research on Vitamins and Vaccines. Ever since she was a medical student in 1993, Christine has worked closely with the Bendim Health Project in Guinea-Bissau. She has also proactively participated in large-scale health intervention programs within the well-known In-Depth network. Through all these activities, Christine has expanded her research and training activities across Africa and Europe. Her research focuses on the epidemiological and immunological aspects of health interventions and their actual impact on overall health in real-life situations. Christine has also provided an alternate framework of interpretation which states that vitamins and vaccines affect the immune system in much more general ways than previously thought. She has suggested that in addition to their specific effects, vaccines have so-called non-specific effects, which may be as important as their specific effects. Taking forward these observations on the non-specific effects of vaccines and vitamins, she conducted several randomized controlled trials, evaluating the overall health effects of vitamin A supplementation, BCG vaccine, oral polio vaccine, and early measles vaccine. Christine has also led immunological studies on the biological mechanisms underlying these non-specific effects. These observations challenged existing dogma in vaccinology, such as delaying vaccinations until maternal antibodies have waned. Christine has also taken her findings from Africa back to Denmark and tested whether her observations in Africa were also important in high-income countries. She recently evaluated whether BCG and oral polio vaccines can provide partial protection against COVID-19 and reduce all-cause mortality. Christine has authored 338 scientific publications in peer-reviewed journals, and she has an H-index of 52. Christine has also mentored numerous healthcare workers, scientists, doctors from Africa, Europe, and Asia, and she has supervised over 40 PhD students. She has a large international following on social media. In her mission to get out important global public health issues for debate in the community, she has attracted over 25,000 followers on Twitter. Christine serves an exemplary role model of a passionate clinician scientist. She is very deserving of the Society's George MacDonald Medal. Thank you.
Thank you so much. 30 years ago, I came to Guinea-Bissau as a medical student with the idea to study whether vitamin A supplementation given in combination with measles vaccine could affect the response to measles vaccine. This was a new idea. In fact, WHO already recommended vitamin A supplementation at measles vaccination contexts, but this was only done to take advantage of the fact that healthcare workers were already vaccinating the children, and that provided an opportunity to provide vitamin A supplementation. So nobody had studied whether the two interventions could affect each other. Our results were very clear. So vitamin A given with measles vaccine enhanced the antibody response to measles vaccine. And it did so in a sex differential manner. So it was boys who had higher antibody titers after getting vitamin A with measles vaccine versus placebo with measles vaccine. So for me, this was a first observation that two health interventions that both affect the immune system can interact with each other and do so in a sex differential manner. And that led to a career of asking a quite basic question, namely, do we know the full effect of our health interventions on overall health in real life? Do we know how they work when they're given in combination and sequence? And are we sure that the effect is similar for boys and for girls? And this line of questioning has provided a lot of new insights and questioned current assumptions in the way health interventions work. I'll give a few examples that have actually led to policy implications, commenting also on the last session here, and then come to some that still remains to be translated into policy. But in the first place, we started looking at the effect of vitamin A supplementation across age groups. And what we found out was that vitamin A was not always beneficial. And in fact, when given to early in life to young infants, it could be harmful. And we were able to explain these findings by providing a potential mechanism, which was that vitamin A given early in life interacted negatively with diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis vaccine in females. So yet another interaction between vitamins and vaccines with sex differential effects. So that didn't lead to policy, but it led to the stop of a policy, because in fact at that time point, it was in the WHO pipeline to give vitamin A to newborns, but not least our findings were able to stop that from becoming a policy, which all data showed would actually have led to potentially more death than it saved. Another finding that we find important and where we have done several randomized trials now is in relation to BCG vaccine at birth, because that was not recommended for low birth weight children. They were considered too immature to receive BCG vaccine, but we had numerous observations suggesting that BCG could have these beneficial non-specific effects and reduce all-cause mortality. So we did randomized trials in low birth weight infants, and we could show that those low birth weight infants who received BCG versus no BCG at birth, they had more than a third lower mortality during the neonatal period. So that led to the change in policy, at least locally, that BCG is now recommended for all babies at birth. We have also seen that for BCG, that's new lines of research, that repeated doses are particularly beneficial, and that goes for all the live attenuated vaccines like BCG. The more doses, the merrier. And the last line of research that we are now pursuing is that maternal priming with these live vaccines actually give a more optimal and amplified beneficial effect of the same vaccine in the babies. These findings all question current dogmas, current perceptions in vaccinology, because of course BCG vaccine, a vaccine against tuberculosis, should not save children in the first month of life, because children don't die from tuberculosis in the first month of life. And BCG in repeated doses should not have added beneficial effects, and likewise BCG to the mother should not give a better response in her baby. So I think it has proven fruitful to pursue this line of thinking, this curiosity-driven research of questioning why do the health interventions work as we assume, and in many cases the answer is no, they don't work as we assume. They have many more effects in real life than we were able to imagine. But coming back to the session here we just had about how to translate this into policy, I think it's a particularly difficult task to translate research findings into policy when they challenge the current dogmas and current assumptions. So this is a particularly difficult situation, and therefore I think I must be the most happy person here today, because one thing that wasn't mentioned among the things that could actually leverage findings into policy was medals and awards. And I have the, I have the hope that this acknowledgement that I'm so grateful for from the nomination from Professor Sumler and for this medal from the Royal Society for Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, the London School for Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, that this award may actually leverage our findings to a next level and hopefully make the translation into policy easier. There is a lot to be achieved because based on the WHO review of non-specific effects of vaccines in 2014, a more clever vaccination program that optimizes both specific and non-specific effects of vaccines actually has the potential to save 1 million children every year. So I hope that I want to thank also my group for all the work that they have done. I'm standing on the shoulders of many great people, and not least my mentor, Peter Arby, and I want to, on behalf of them and myself, thank again the societies and Professor Sumler for this medal, and thank you for your attention.
So now we're moving on to the Emerging Leaders Award. This award was established in 2016 and recognises significant contributions in leadership and service in the fields of tropical medicine and hygiene. This year's nominator was Dr. Lorenz von Seidlein, who nominated Dr. Bipin Adhikari. Unfortunately, neither could be present today, so we'll now play the video, the pre-recorded video of the nomination, followed immediately by the acceptance.
Bipin grew up in rural Nepal. He studied medicine in Henan, China, and worked then for 3 years in the Rajchandra Military Hospital in Kathmandu. Between 2011 and 2013, Bipin passed the DTM&H, then a master in clinical tropical medicine, and the following year a master in public health here with us in the Mahidol University in Bangkok. The next year, Bipin worked in an MSF camp in South Sudan. The following year, 2015, he was back in Bangkok, and that is when I first ran into Bipin. The next 3 years, Bipin worked with us on mass anti-malarial drug administration campaigns. For this purpose, Bipin lived in one of our study sites in eastern Savannakhet, close to the border between Laos and Vietnam. This is one of the areas which received the most intense, the heaviest bombing campaigns during the conflict that is generally known as the Vietnam War, but of course has a different name with the local people. Bipin's job was to engage with our target population to maximize the uptake and hence the coverage of the mass drug administrations. He found that the key is gaining the trust, but that is not an easy task if you are just seen as an outsider, as another invader. Bipin wrote a series of reports about this experience, which gained him a well-deserved Oxford DPhil, which is the equivalent of a PhD. When COVID started the following year, Bipin immediately recognized that the uptake and hence the public health impact of interventions such like masks and mass vaccination campaigns would be seriously undermined in the absence of trust in the public health recommendations. Bipin shared these insights in a series of publications. Bipin has published more than 50 papers in the last 5 years. We need young leaders like Bipin in an age where just about everyone with a smartphone feels they can do their own research and that their opinion is just as valid as an established scientific.
I'm very humbled to receive the Emerging Leaders Award from RSTMH for 2023. I would like to express my special thanks to Professor Lorenz von Seidlein for nominating me for this award. Since I first began to start a graduate diploma in tropical medicine in 2011 at Mahidol University, I've always been fascinated by their implications in global health. Along my career journey that included community clinic in Nepal, TB HIV clinic with Doctors Without Borders in South Sudan, and research journey with Mahidol Oxford Research Unit in Southeast Asia, I've always learned from the people around me. And therefore, I share my award to all who I have collaborated so far. This award means a lot to me as it inspires me to continue the work in the field of tropical medicine and global health. The award also encourages me to share and contribute knowledge and skills to newcomers in the field. I'm very thankful to RSTMH for selecting me as an emerging leader this year. Thank you.
And again, we make sure that that medal gets to Dr. Adhikari. The next medal I would like to present is the Chalmers Medal. This medal recognizes researchers in tropical medicine or global health who demonstrate evidence of mentoring and professional development of junior investigators, as well as all other forms of capacity building. This year's winner was nominated by Professor Kevin Marsh, and I invite Professor Marsh to give his nomination.
Thanks, President. Well, it's a delight. I'm delighted to nominate Professor Faith Ossier for this award. And I'd originally planned to read out my citation, but as we were coming on to the stage, I was told we're probably going to be short of time, so would you mind cutting it in half to 2 minutes? I like to believe Faith's achievements are such that had I not told you that, you wouldn't have realized that I've deleted half of them in the citation. So Faith Ossier is an outstanding scientist who's made and continues to make seminal contributions to our understanding of human immune responses to malaria. She's also shown visionary leadership through a number of major international roles, and she's passionate about supporting the careers of young African scientists and is widely seen as a role model across the continent. She qualified in medicine in Nairobi in 1996, and I think a key influence on her career was moving to the Kemri Welcome Program in Kilifi as a medical officer, where she developed a fascination with the immunity to malaria. And that's really, I think in many ways, for better or for worse, shaped her career ever since. She gained membership of the UK Royal College of Paediatrics and Child Health in 2003, and a Masters in Immunology with distinction at Liverpool in 2004. Her work is notable for, I think, for a logical progression over three parallel areas. One is in defining the immune correlates of malaria. Second is in defining the mechanisms by which immunity works. And the third is identifying new vaccine candidates. Her early work on responses to specific antigens drew attention to the importance of breadth and depth in the immune response and led to the identification of a series of new potential vaccine candidates. From 2010, she held a clinical research fellowship at the Burnett Institute in Melbourne, where she focused on immune mechanisms and showed that merozoite phagocytosis is an important correlate of immunity. From 2013, she showed an extraordinary energy in building a multicultural research group in not one, but two locations, actually two groups linked together. One in Kilifi in Kenya, and the other in Heidelberg in Germany. And during this period, her team of talented, largely African students produced an outstanding body of work. Notable achievements included the development of an innovative protein microarray, the kill chip, which comprised many of the antigens that her group had identified as potentially important. And this was the first such chip developed in Africa and was used to characterize a unique set of 10,000 samples from right across the continent, the largest study of its kind. In 2021, she took up the role of Executive Director of the IAVI Human Immunology Laboratory at Imperial College, where as well as expanding her interest to include HIV, she continued to play a major role in defining immune responses in an exciting new approach using controlled human malaria infections in Kilifi in Kenya. I think the pull of malaria was too strong, and in 2022 she moved to take up the role of the Chair of Malaria Immunology and Vaccinology at Imperial, where she's also co-director at the Institute of Infection. Throughout her career, Faith has combined a passion for science with a burning commitment to supporting the careers of young African researchers, and especially of women researchers. Her support always extends beyond technical supervision to one of career mentorship and coaching. She maintains close contact with all her mentees as they develop their own careers now across a large number of institutions in Africa and elsewhere. Beyond the lab, Faith has exercised really outstanding international leadership. She was elected as Vice President and then as President of the 60,000-member International Union of Immunological Societies, the first African woman to hold this position. She's a member of many international advisory boards, and her opinion is sought by many. Faith's science and leadership roles have been recognized by many international prizes. She's also been elected as a Fellow of the African Academy of Sciences, the World Academy of Sciences, and most recently as a member of EMBO. So in summary, Faith Ossie's achievement in the 15 years since she was awarded a PhD are really remarkable. She's internationally recognized as an outstanding researcher, as an inspiring leader, and as a role model for young African scientists. I really can't think of anyone more deserving of the Chalmers Medal of the Royal Society of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Marsh and Professor Ossier. I'm very pleased to present this wonderful Chalmers Medal to you. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Please.
So it's a great honor to be here and to receive the award, and I accept it with great happiness. It's really moving to be appreciated, and I just want to thank all the people that have made a big contribution in my life. I trained in Nairobi, regular medical student, knew nothing about nothing, but over the course of time, I've had such excellent mentorship and been in such good environments where, in fact, the people around me saw the potential and created that environment that allowed me to really advance in my career. And so my challenge to myself and to the rest of us in this room is that the problems that we have to solve in global health, they're major, they've been there for a long time, and they're gonna take a long time to solve. And while we might not solve them in our lifetime, we can at least create those environments and those opportunities that allow young people to thrive so that they can move the agenda to the next level and to the next level. And that's exactly what happened for me, and that's what I strive to create for others. I know I'm speaking to all believers, you're all here because of tropical medicine, but just want to encourage us to really give those opportunities to the young people to build a better tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you and congratulations, Professor Osu. The last award to present is the 2022 Student Essay Prize. The essay competition runs every year and is open to full-time students who are based anywhere in the world, studying any degree that has a component of global health or medicine. The topic for the year was conflict and health. And I'm delighted to announce that Miss Hannah Lynn is the winner of the 2022 Student Essay Competition, with your submission being the collateral of conflict, the effects of war on health at home and away. So I'm very pleased to present your certificate. Thank you. And if you would like to say a few words.
I'll be very quick. Thank you very much. My name's Hannah. I'm a final year medical student from Cambridge, and I'm delighted to receive this prize. My essay was inspired by a talk I attended by Mary-Lise Numahosa, MBE. She's a refugee who came to the UK from Rwanda. And I tried to mirror her journey in my essay, exploring the effects of conflict on health, both in war-torn areas, in refugee camps, and also in areas where refugees settle, because the challenges of health don't stop when refugees settle in a different country. In the process of writing my essay, I really raised my own awareness of the issues of conflict and health. For example, in England, anyone is entitled to register to receive free healthcare from a GP practice without documentation, so no proof of address or immigration status is needed. But I know this isn't always known or followed, so as someone who qualifies in less than a year, I just hope that I can use this information to do a little bit to breaking down barriers for those whose access to healthcare has been affected by conflict. So thank you again to the RSTMH for this opportunity.
Thank you, everyone. Congratulations to all the winners, be they on video or on the podium here. And thank you all for joining us, the Society, for today. I hope that you enjoyed the day.